That shouldn't surprise any of us. But they went in there and absolutely obliterated the Connecticut Sun tonight. Caitlin Clark, big-time double-double. And before the game, Sophie Cunningham was asked about her comments that she made where she stood up for women's sports.
There are unspoken commandments in the realm of professional athletics that you violate at your own peril. You never poke a dormant beast, you avoid giving a transcendent prodigy any extra fuel, and crucially, you never deliver a cheap shot to the most trusted ally of a franchise savior. Clearly, the Connecticut Sun skipped that briefing. What transpired on the floor between the Indiana Fever and their Eastern Conference rivals wasn't a standard basketball matchup, it was a methodical, ruthless dismantling. This utter demolition will serve as a cautionary tale in film sessions for generations. The evening kicked off with an earth-shattering media revelation that sent shockwaves through the industry, but concluded in a live broadcast catastrophe for the visiting squad. This contest hammered home one chilling truth to the entire WNBA: lay a hand on Sophie Cunningham, and Caitlin Clark will orchestrate your complete and utter humiliation. To grasp the scale of this hardwood carnage and the fierce psychological battle at play, we must look backward to the electric pre-game environment. The stadium wasn't merely boisterous, it pulsed with an atomic intensity. The reason? Just hours before tip-off, a monumental, paradigm-shifting press release commanded the attention of every sports outlet on Earth.
That I don't normally do. Not that you did a great job coaching, that you did a great job of getting the hell out of Caitlin Clark's way today. When the GOAT has the ball in her hands, there's nothing anybody can do. This was a masterclass. This is why she is the best show in the business. Must-see television. Caitlin Clark put on an absolute dominant performance versus the Connecticut Sun. 27 points, 11 assists in just 27 minutes. Indiana Fever beat the absolute dog crap, beat the brakes off the Connecticut Sun. 123-88, 70 points in the first.
Caitlin Clark had just been crowned the solitary, worldwide cover star for the deluxe edition of NBA 2K27. Pause and absorb the gravity of that milestone. We aren't discussing a regional marketing stunt, a digital exclusive variant, or a hidden store promotion. We are witnessing the inaugural moment a WNBA competitor has commanded the premier sports gaming titan on an undisputed international stage. This amounted to an outright coronation, not a mere sponsorship deal. Clark stepped onto the court, already forged as an active myth, balancing the financial destiny and cultural relevance of the whole association. Her Fever locker room surged with the kind of euphoric momentum typically reserved for hoisting a championship trophy. The energy was immaculate, fueled by a roaring audience draped in custom gear and clutching homemade banners, entirely prepared to witness a spectacular, highlight-packed triumph to honor their cornerstone's achievement. However, the Connecticut Sun made a catastrophic, hubristic error in judgment. Strutting into the building, the visitors were sickened by the overwhelming spotlight fixed on Indiana. They refused to play the role of stepping stones on Clark's historic evening or act as mere extras in a video game promo. They actively embraced the antagonist role, aiming to sabotage the festivities and drag the Fever down into a brutal, grinding slugfest. They incorrectly interpreted Indiana's celebratory mood as a weakness, marking the most devastating misstep they could ever conceive.
Athlete for NBA 2K27 Deluxe Edition. She's obsessed with the work. Pre-order NBA 2K27 now. I've taken a break from 2K. I haven't played 2K in the last 6 years. I'm not going to play. It's the same game, repackaged over and over again. But Caitlin Clark on the cover. Love to see it. Caitlin Clark on the cover. Absolutely loved it. This should have happened year one. This should have happened year two. But you know what? They're not just going to throw her on the WNBA edition like Angel Reese and Asia Wilson. She's not going to get a participation trophy like those two. Oh yeah, here you go, WNBA edition. Oh, really, for me? Nah, see, don't worry, Caitlin. Don't worry. In 25, this is who.
Frantic to unsettle the freshly crowned 2K icon, the Sun threw conventional game plans out the window and embraced a shockingly grimy approach. Deep within their tactical breakdowns, they understood perfectly well that containing Clark's deep-range artillery was impossible, nor did they possess the foot speed to match her supernatural court vision. Instead, their objective shifted to crushing the squad's morale by going after the gritty anchor of Indiana's toughness, Sophie Cunningham. That is when Alyssa Morrow entered the frame, in a fiercely hostile, perilously careless, and entirely uncalled-for collision that left home viewers roaring in outrage. Morrow leveled Cunningham. This was no ordinary battle for possession or a standard rebounding tangle beneath the basket. It was an intentional, aggressive message sender, a sequence that violently vaulted past tough, vintage defensive principles and landed squarely in the territory of blatant, unvarnished disrespect toward Cunningham.
She's been getting praise from anybody with half a brain cell today. No doubt about it. Now, right here, double technicals for Sanaya Rivers and Caitlin Clark, who exchanged words after a Connecticut foul. That's 7 technicals for Caitlin Clark. One more, and she will be suspended. I hope they rescind this one because I thought it was complete bullshit. You see that score, 123-88. The Indiana Fever set a record for points in the first half of a game with 70 tonight. Wow. Yeah, and Caitlin Clark started this game fast. She never really took her foot off the pedal at all. And I got to tell you, if teammates could have made some shots, she might have had 16, 17, 18 assists tonight. There were a lot of shots missed on passes that she made directly to her teammate.
Cunningham crashed onto the floorboards with a violent thud, the jarring noise reverberating straight into the announcers' headsets. For a terrifying, fleeting moment, the entire facility dropped into a suffocating hush. The collective breath of the crowd vanished as medical personnel shifted anxiously on the sidelines. The visiting locker room truly assumed they had accomplished their mission, convinced this menacing display would shatter the Fever's swagger and derail their offensive flow. Yet, they fundamentally misunderstood the caliber of athlete they were testing. Sophie Cunningham isn't wired like your average competitor. She is an immovable, ferocious gladiator. Rather than writhing on the hardwood or signaling the training staff for a lifeline, she powered her way right back to her feet, unwilling to surrender even a fraction of an inch. She plunged immediately back into the fray, broadcasting an unmistakable warning that this Indiana squad cannot be rattled, shoved aside, or derailed by gutter tactics.
When they are playing in the CC style, Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell are an unguardable backcourt. Kelsey Mitchell's passing the ball. The girl shoots at an efficient clip. Aaliyah Boston had 20 points, 20 minutes. I mean, damn, they beat the hell out the Connecticut Sun. Let's get a look at these GOAT highlights, please. Please. Let's get into these GOAT highlights, man. They can't stop CC.
Till up. People don't.
Let's take a look at these highlights, man. Caitlin Clark put on a show, loading up threes. First play of the game. Bang. Baghdad. First play of the game. Y'all can't stop her. Snatch back. Pull up from the parking lot. Pulled up from the parking lot where it's $50 to park at. Getting into the lane and one. You can't stop her. They ain't even call it. Reverse is too easy for Caitlin Clark. She's unguardable. Another three. Baghdad. They can't stop her. She's pulling up. She's pulling up from Hawkeye Arena. What a pass to Aaliyah Boston, man. Caitlin Clark can't be stopped. If you think there's anybody as good as in basketball as Caitlin Clark, you're either drunk, on drugs, you're delusional, you need to check into a mental ward, something is wrong. Pump fake, step back, cash. This girl's unguardable, man. The girl's unguardable. She hit, 5 threes in the first half, coming off. Look at that pad. Bounce pass to Aaliyah Boston and one. The best pick and roll.
However, the genuine looming catastrophe wasn't brewing within Cunningham. While the officials scrambled to blow their whistles and de-escalate the rapidly boiling tension, the national broadcast lenses pivoted to capture Caitlin Clark's face. That radiant, intensely marketable grin featured on the 2K27 promotional posters was completely wiped away. Every ounce of the pre-game jubilation evaporated, replaced instantaneously by a chilling glare of pure lethal hostility. Her vision was entirely zeroed in. She abstained from yelling at the refs, throwing her hands up, or staging a theatrical meltdown. She simply burned a hole through the Connecticut sideline with a dead-eyed stare. The Sun remained blissfully ignorant, but in that precise fraction of a second, they had irreversibly sealed their own tragic fate. The subsequent display will be dissected by coaching staffs for decades as the absolute pinnacle of hardwood retribution. Clark flipped an invisible switch, tapping into an awe-inspiring dominant frequency rarely witnessed in the annals of the Wnba. The Fever morphed from running a standard offensive playbook into executing a flawless, synchronized tactical bombardment. Clark began launching unearthly bombs from the midcourt logo with a cold, robotic precision that completely crushes a defender's spirit and extinguishes their desire to play. Whenever Connecticut desperately tweaked their schemes, attempted a frantic pick-and-roll trap, or hurled two bodies her way, she exposed them as utterly comical. She threaded the needle with blind behind-the-back lasers, carving up their defensive shell like a premier surgeon executing a masterpiece. The contest devolved into a blazing track meet controlled exclusively by Clark's tempo. She puppeteered the entire hardwood, making highly compensated professional athletes look like immobile training dummies in a rec league. You could visibly track the sheer undeniable terror bleeding into the expressions of the Sun roster. They were hyperventilating, completely buried, and physically shattered. They found themselves locked inside a self-inflicted horror story, masterminded by a generational talent who denied them even a droplet of mercy.
Who appears on the Standard Edition, and former NBA MVP Derrick Rose, who was featured on the Ultra Edition, honoring his legendary career. The moment shows off another significant achievement for Clark, who has become one of the biggest faces in basketball since entering the WNBA. Caitlin Clark calls NBA 2K27 cover pretty surreal. Speaking with Bleacher Report after the announcement, Clark admitted receiving the cover honor was something she never imagined as a child. Quote, "It's pretty cool and pretty surreal," Clark said. "As a kid growing up, you're always watching to see who's going to be on the next cover of 2K. She also emphasized what the recognition means for women's basketball. Quote, "I think it's cool to see where the women's game is at this point too. People are getting excited about what the women's game can bring." Clark said she hopes seeing a WNBA player featured prominently in one of the world's most popular sports video games inspires the next generation of young athletes. Quote, "Hopefully young kids love it, and hopefully it can show a lot of young girls too about what they can achieve one day." The Fever Guard also reflected on sharing the spotlight with Rose and Wembanyama, calling it an honor she doesn't take lightly. She revealed she first met with Rose while attending a basketball tournament in 7th grade and called Wembanyama one of her favorite NBA players, recalling that the Spurs star once gifted her a game-worn signed jersey that remains one of her favorite collectibles. Damn, they gave Sophie Cunningham a 78 in 2K? I want to see what that 3-point percentage rating's looking like. I want to see what that 3-point percentage is looking like. Okay.
When the final horn mercifully echoed to halt the carnage, the jumbo screen displayed what looked like a typographical error, 23-88. Let that sink in, 23-88. It was a flawless, undeniable massacre broadcast to the masses. Clark didn't merely defeat her opponents, she stripped them of their pride, erupting for a historic 27 points alongside 11 dimes. This perfect double-double was engineered entirely out of vengeance, fierce loyalty, and raw supremacy. It served as a devastating warning concealed inside a breathtaking athletic masterclass. The decree echoed powerfully across every executive suite in the association. If you attempt to physically harm my partners or deploy reckless tactics against the people I share the trenches with, I will orchestrate a 120-point avalanche against your franchise. I will shatter league milestones while turning your squad into a viral montage of pure humiliation. Clark didn't merely stand up for Cunningham. She lifted the entire Indiana organization, showcasing to the athletic universe that this locker room operates as an unbreakable, tight-knit family willing to go to war for one another. This specific mental fortitude is precisely why the video game executives selected her to champion their global brand. It extends far beyond her staggering box scores or impossible shooting range. It is anchored in an elite championship mindset and a commander who absolutely refuses to tolerate disrespect under her watch.
Up her 7th technical foul because we got bums on the Connecticut Sun. Diamond Miller, you played a good game. You talking trash. You're down 30. You fouling Caitlin Clark after the whistle. When we walk into our benches for timeouts, you're still grabbing and fouling, all this stuff. You got Sanaya Rivers trash talking. You down 30. Look at the scoreboard. Caitlin Clark told her, look at the scoreboard, bum. Caitlin Clark gets a 7 technical. Check this out.
And the jawing continuing.
He told her, look at the scoreboard. You doing all that trash talking. Look at the scoreboard. Sanaya Rivers was the one starting all of that. Caitlin Clark gets a bogus 7 technical foul. Trash talking, and you down by 30. You down by 30, Sanaya Rivers. You look like a straight clown. Straight clown. You down by 30. You getting belt to ass, but you talking trash. That's why you're not good. That's why the Connecticut Sun stink. Like, it is what it is, man. Let's get into the stats for the Indiana Fever because they played a hell of a game. The big three was on point, man. Aaliyah Boston, 22 points, 10 of 14. With her 22 points, 5 assists, 6 rebounds in just 20 minutes. Kelsey Mitchell, 9 of 16, 3 of 6 from 3. She had 23 points, 2 assists, 4 rebounds. Caitlin the GOAT Clark, 27 points and 11 assists in just 27 minutes. Now, I'm telling you right now, if Caitlin Clark would have played in this 4th quarter, she would have had 40.
When the smoke finally cleared from the arena, Caitlin Clark exited the building, clutching the worldwide 2K27 mantle in one hand, dragging the shattered, lifeless morale of the Connecticut Sun in the other. Every remaining contender in the association has been officially warned. The path to the trophy runs directly through Indiana, and if any team intends to deploy underhanded tricks along that journey, they must brace themselves for the apocalyptic retaliation that will inevitably follow. This marked a watershed chapter in athletic lore, seamlessly merging colossal industry headlines with raw, unbridled competitive theater. The Sun wagered against the Fever's primary enforcer and suffered the maximum penalty, sparking one of the most explosive individual performances ever documented. Thank you for diving into this comprehensive recap. Be sure to smash that subscribe icon, activate your notifications so you never miss a split second of the drama, and stick around for our next thorough breakdown of the wildest sagas in the sports world.